Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and welcome to a special edition of Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I'm here today to talk to you about Digimon Frontier. This came out in 2002 and lasted to 2003. And this was the very first Disney-owned Digimon series. Digimon, for the first 3 seasons, were owned by that of Fox Kids, and more importantly, Saban Entertainment. And so, this season, when Saban sold his rights, like with Power Rangers and all his other IPs and stuff to Disney, they got a hold of Digimon. And Disney, for the most part, they had a bunch of IPs from Saban, but they only wanted Power Rangers and Digimon because those were the two biggest things. And so I remember I was in college. At least I believe, yeah, I was in college. And I remember, waking up one morning for class and just turn on the TV, like drowsy and everything. And I'm flipping through like the channels and stuff. And I landed on the UPN channel. And their syndication early in the morning was Digimon Frontier. And I'm just like, what is this and stuff? Like, I had no idea and everything. I was totally like surprised. I'm like, yes, Digimon lives and everything. Because, after Tamers, I didn't know if it was ever coming back or not. But I was just kind of like, hey, why is it not on Fox Kids? Well, by that time, Fox Kids became Fox Box. And so then I'm all like, wait, hold up. Are the humans, are the Digi-Destined? Are they also Digimon? I'm like, what? This was the first and only time human Digidestins became Digimon. And I was totally floored by that because normally it's a human with a Digivice and they have a Digimon partner. And this was the first time they actually turned into a Digimon. And I was just being like completely, my mind was just blown, right? Like I just couldn't believe that. I'm like, what am I seeing? You know what I'm saying? And part of me was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And other parts of me were kind of like, I kind of missed them having a partner. But for the most part, I dig it. And for the most part, I really, really enjoy Digimon Frontier. It's my third favorite Digimon series. At the time when this came out, this was the most hated Digimon season. A lot of people simply just don't like the idea of humans digivolving into Digimon. But after many other Digimon seasons, mainly that of Fusion, that's now people's most hated season and stuff. However, there are at least 2 or 3 more Digimon seasons after Fusion, but they've never had an English dub. And so a lot of people actually don't even know they exist. And one came out just this year. I haven't seen them because I don't speak Japanese, so I have no idea what they're saying. And I literally just found out a couple of weeks ago. And so, but Digimon Frontier is pretty cool. It's pretty solid. What I enjoy about it is they went back to basics. Like the thing about me and Digimon that I always appreciated and loved was the fact you had these group of kids who got stranded in the digital world and they had to navigate and survive on their own with their Digimon. I always loved that premise. That's something that's always bugged me about Tamers is that like it spent the majority of time in the human world. And they spent very few time in the digital world. And when they was in the digital world, I was confused because it wasn't the same type of digital world that I was used to seeing and stuff. So it took me a while to like figure out what's the rules and the ins and outs of their digital world and stuff. And so, and that just led to more confusion because I'm trying to like figure it out and remember. And then I'm also trying to compare it to like the other one and stuff. But with this one, they went back to basics. And because Tamers was so dark and edgy and stuff, they went more towards the lighter side in Digimon Frontier. So it's not as dark and grim as Tamers were. But they also went back to basics of having kids stranded in the digital world and stuff and having to navigate. It wasn't done as effectively as season one, because in season one, you really felt like you was transported to a different world, and the kids are oblivious to everything because they had really no guides except for that their Digimon, and but still they was clueless and stuff. Here, they're giving two Digimon companions that help them guide themselves around the digital world. And the companions are really cool and everything. I really like the humor. I like one has like a British sounding voice. The other one is like a nincompoop and everything. And he's always pulling like, the elastic part of like his pants and just like smacking him with it. I always find that like hilarious and stuff. And they make for a great duo. And but it also was something I like about this season was that the kids were actually very likable. I love their designs, their characteristics. Could use a bit work on it. Like one thing about this season, like this season's not perfect, but it is good and everything. You do get an understanding of what the kids are like, but for the most part, they don't have those vibrant personalities as like other seasons, or mainly like, '01. But they're a whole lot more likable than the '02 kids. And so when it comes to them digivolving, I don't understand why people hated that because it's kind of like, wouldn't you want to turn into a superhero with a really cool costume and like everything like that? I mean, I know I would and everything. Now their digivices are kind of on the, they're just okay looking. They're just kind of like, like I don't know, they're cool, but they're not as cool as the ones that came before it. And so these Digimon don't deal in collecting digital eggs or using cards. They deal in Digimon spirits. See, in this season, there are two types of Digimon. There are your human Digimon and there are your beast Digimon. And when you look at them, you really can't tell the difference because sometimes the human forms look like beasts. And so this digital world has its own set of rules, which you kind of do get to learn, but they really don't dwell too much into it. It's mostly just a bunch of kids wandering around, and the only thing that makes you remember that they are in the digital world is when you actually see Digimon and everything. And there's the only thing that's really interesting about this world is that when you go into the forest, there are these TV monitors on like the trees, and you can see into the human world. Which I do like how in this season they don't say the real world, they say the human world because the digital world is very much real and everything. Everything is stored in data in this world, and the data is called fractal code. The fractal code makes up like everything in the digital world. And if you take the frac out, you can disrupt it. Now, this digital world, like I said before, it does look very different. When you see the outside of it, like the globe part, it's very distorted in everything. There are pieces missing, and it looks like a giant, like Jenga type, like toy or something like that. That's all weird looking, and that's because people have been taking the fractal code out and using it for evil ways. So these Digidestin have to, which are known as the legendary warriors, have to like, restore the fractal code back to where it's supposed to go and restore balance to that of digital world and everything. And so back to the whole human and beast thing, you really can't tell who are the human Digimon at parts, at times. Unless they actually look human and have human skin and like, everything like that. I said it before that movie they came out with based on this did a better job of seeing what the human Digimon look like as opposed to the beast. And I wish they would have took that approach to this series because for the most part, you really just can't tell. Now, one cool thing is all the cameos. You get Digimon from every past season cameoing in this thing. And it's like insane. And sometimes they're colored differently. But one thing that is a bit jarring is that when you see Digimon that you know and love and recognize, they will have a completely different voice at times. And it's a bit like distracting and stuff because you're expecting it to have like a certain type of voice. And so, like, and it's funny because Goemon is in this thing, and but his voice actor is voicing somebody else, while somebody else is taking on the Goemon type voices. Also, a group of these Digimon, they can have individual names. So, say all the Agumon won't be called Agumon; they'll have a different name, like Joe or Steve or something like that. Also, sorry about that, my camera died. So in every village of every type of Digimon that's like, the same species, they will have an elder. An elder is bigger, have like probably like gray eyebrows, something like that. They look older in the face and they carry like a staff or a cane. And so they're like, the leader of like, that group and stuff. And so that's a really interesting, different like change of pace. The thing that never really surprised me about the whole, well, it did surprise me, but like like with the whole human Digimon, like humans turning into Digimon, that reminded me something of what Jedi said in season one when they was heading back to the real world and everything. Is that like there are other dimensions and you can have a Digimon with a Digimon body and a human head, or vice versa. So I don't know why people got so upset. Plus, when you saw in season three, like, it was a different parallel dimension. So why did this bother people so much? But back with like, this version of the digital world, it is interesting to see Digimon, like there's two different Angemon in this. One has a purple strap type thing. What is it? Like, that thing around his waist or whatever. Like one's purple and then one's the more traditional blue kind. And with there being like two sets of Digimon, beast and that of human, there are also celestial Digimon. And the celestial Digimon are the ones that rule the world and everything. At first, they just all appear as angels, the two that are there, because it's an Angemon and an Angewomon variant. But then there is one I think of like Kokomon when he digivolves and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of like, well, that doesn't look like an angel. He just looks like a giant bunny in like a circus clown type thing. And so I don't understand why they made him a celestial one, other than, them just wanting to bring back that version that, was in the other season in that movie. And so for the most part, when it comes to these Digimon, or this Digimon show, is that normally there are 3 acts in a Digimon show, and in each act, there's a new primary villain. However, the problem with this show is that it's kind of hard to tell when a certain act begins and stops. And sometimes they kind of bleed into each other to the point where you ask yourself, is there even really a second or a third act? Because the villains, for the most part, like there are like 5 primary, 5 or 4 primary villains. But they take up a large chunk of the time, where they take up the majority of like the season. I think it's 50 episodes, I think. And they take up about like 30 episodes up. And then the remaining episodes mainly follow like these 2 other primary villains, but they all work together. Every villain in this works for one major bad guy, and that's Luciamon, who is, Luciamon based on Lucifer the devil and stuff. He's like this angel looking thing that turned evil. And the thing about that is I don't know how, I don't really like that much. I don't like how every minor villain, or I guess you could say like a general type villain, follows his rule, you know what I'm saying? Because I always liked it in the past seasons where they split it up. And then when they split the arcs up, you get a different power up. Which, by the way, is even more confusing because some of these, like, here's the thing, they all start off with their spirit human form, right? But then about, I don't know, about 10 episodes in or so, then you get their beast powers and the whole aforementioned of, like, there are beast Digimon. Or maybe about 7 episodes in. Yeah, it's about 7 episodes in, and we start getting your, like, beast forms. And I'm just kind of like, wait, hold up. The first act can't be over in 7 episodes, is it? And this is what this show does. It kind of disregards that past format, and it just goes something different to where they get their spirit human forms first in the first 7 episodes. Then after that they get their beast one, but when they get them, they literally get them an episode after each other, which can kind of be annoying because it's kind of like in the past, you'll have like one or two maybe Digimon get their powers, and then you'll go like maybe like 7, 8, 10 episodes later, and then somebody else probably get theirs, and then but whatever, however many episodes it takes, they will still stay on their certain digital evolution until the next arc, and then they get an upgrade and everything. And not only do you get an upgrade, the villain has an upgrade to that same level. And this is how you distinguish all the different levels from like champion, the ultimate, the mega, and stuff like that in the past seasons. But here it's just like every episode within the first 7 episodes they get their powers. You don't really get to linger on those too much because then they get an upgrade. Then a couple of episodes later, like 2 of them only gets like a new upgrade. And so for the most part, I can consider probably their spirit human form champion, their beast ultimate. But then, once you get into like I think, what is it? I think it's called Fusion, I think. That's more like a mega level. And then there's like another one called Unity. And then that's an even like higher level and stuff. And so, but when you get to like Fusion and Unity, that happens much, much later on and stuff. And then it's kind of like, well, which one's more powerful? Because they keep needing more upgrades and everything to take out the main bad guy. So I wish they would have spread it out more, the digital evolutions and stuff. And also not only spread them out more, but have us get to know those characters a bit more before they go into their next digital evolution. And so that's one of my major gripes with this season and stuff, that things just happen a little too quickly. And so like, man, I can't remember what episode you get on, but then once like, 'cause see, those 4 or 5 bad guys are like, the legendary warriors and stuff. Once they're done, then we get who we assume is the big bad guy, one of those celestial Digimon, because they was working for him. And so, but then you only get a few episodes with him, and then it turns out, oh wait, he was brainwashed the entire time. And just like the legendary warrior people, they was brainwashed as well. So then after that, you get these 2 other Digimon who are the bad guys, who are knights, and they're stealing the rest of the fractal code. And then, it turns out, oh, they're not doing it on their own. They're working for the actual real Uber bad guy and everything, as everybody else was. And so it's different, true, and I can respect it for its differences, but I don't know. It's like, I kind of don't just like that. Another thing that bugs me is that normally when you watch a Digimon season, you can kind of like get the flow of it and everything. Here, the flow just kind of stops, and then you get halfway into the series, and then it picks back up. What I mean by that is, when they first show up, they'll head to like a village of Digimon, and those Digimon will probably like act like nice or evil to them, right? Or they'll be nice, and then there'll be this one Digimon that's really evil, and he will digivolve, and so they have to take him on. And then once they defeat him and take the fractal code out of him, it gets released back into the digital world, and those gaps get reformed. And so it could create like a bridge or something like that through like a canyon. And so it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is what the premise is going to be like. They're going to go village to village and restore the missing fractal code, right? No, that gets like abandoned after like 3 episodes. And then it's like then after that, the majority of the season has to do with those brainwashed legendary warriors. And so they're constantly fighting them, which it takes a long time because they're so tough and everything. And so like that whole restoring the fractal code thing, that just gets completely abandoned and you literally forget about that. And so then you have like, these big bad Digimon and they're stealing the spirit of like, the kids, and they can't digivolve, or they're still like their digivices or something like that. And so then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, when they destroy like a Digimon, because they will destroy some like random Digimon in here, and then it's like, okay, they're taking the fractal code again, but now they're giving it to I can't think of his name right now, but it's the giant bunny celestial Digimon, and so they'll give it to him, and he like, what is he using it for exactly and stuff, and he's trying to power up this ancient Digimon. So once all of that is finally like over with, then they go back to the old premise of them stealing fractal code from like, a building or like the ground or the river, and then they're giving it to Luciamon, and Luciamon wants it so he can re-energize himself and wake up and then take over the human world and stuff. And so the whole taking the fractal code thing, I hate how that got abandoned like after 3 episodes, only for it to re-come back up like around like the 37th or like 40th episode or something. I can't remember if it was 40 or 50 episodes, but in a way, it's like somewhere in between. That's when you get back to them stealing the fractal code, and the fractal code becomes important again, as opposed to them just fighting the legendary warriors and stuff. So I don't like the pacing in this whatsoever. And so, like, but one thing I did leave out is that how this digital world really got, like, formed and stuff. Basically, there was a giant war between that of the human Digimon and the beast Digimon, which is something you do not see in the entirety of the series. You don't see no prejudice or hatred towards those two. You see it in the movie, which is why the movie should have been the premise of the show. So, anyway. So Luciamon came in and made them stop like fighting each other. But something took a toll on him, and he started getting corrupted by all the negativity in the world, and he became evil. Once he became too much for them to handle, then the 10 legendary warrior Digimon had to stop and imprison him. And it's with their fractal code they help form, more of the digital world and what it is and stuff, or something like that. And so, but I think they took up so much of their energy that they got defeated, and that's why their spirits like linger on and everything. And I think their spirits help like protect that area of like the digital world or something like that. So then, there need to be law and order. So in comes the 3 celestial Digimon to like put down the law. 2 are angel-like, and one's that bunny one. The bunny one is grumpy. So basically, there are 2 of the celestials that one is all for the beast and one's all for the humans, and they bicker and everything to the point where the bunny one gets like really upset at the other 2, and he turns evil. But he doesn't turn evil on his own accord. He is brainwashed. And that really bugs me because I don't want a brainwashed bad guy. I want him just to be bad and everything. So that's kind of like the new rules of this digital world and everything. And so when the kids come in, they inhabit some of the human, like, some of the legendary warriors, like digital modes and stuff, both beast and animal. Now, one thing that bugs me about their beast mode, not beast and animal, but beast and human. One thing that bugs me about the beast mode is that, like, okay, first, it's established when you get your beast digivolution, the beast aspect of it takes over your mind, and you become very animalistic. Like you just become enraged and you can't control yourself. Then after people have to like beat you up or like calm you down and talk to you, then you're able to control it. That happens at first with the first 2. After that, you don't see that no more. So then they're able to, the other like remaining ones are able to control their beast mode like very easily. And it's kind of like, well, hold up, what happened to that whole storyline of them becoming like enraged and out of control? So they completely just abandoned that, and that like pisses me off. And one thing that also pisses me off is that once you get into fusion and unity, the other Digimon, well, Digidestined, become irrelevant for the most part for the story because they don't get to Digivolve into those levels. They don't get to do the whole fusion thing, which would have been very sweet and very nice, but it's only for the two leads and everything. One thing about the Digital Evolution is that you never get to see the CGI 3D version of it like we did in the past ones, which is like, kind of disappointing because that's something we're so used to. And so it kind of bums me out that the other four Digimon or Digidestins never get to evolve into the fusion level, which would have been so sweet and nice. But they give their powers to the other two, like leader type Digidestin, to form the fusion. Then the whole unity thing, they all fuse together and everything. And so it's kind of like an Omnimon situation type thing, which they're still not all that powerful. And so that's kind of like a real bummer. Now, there is an interesting twist with one of the Digidestins that I'll get into a little bit later that was so amazing and stuff. And so, also, there's a burger episode, which is one of my favorite because it's just kind of like every time I see it, I want a burger and everything. So, right before I get into characters, let me see if there's anything I'm leaving out. Oh, this is a season that really doesn't go to the human world that much. And so the main Digimon bad guy, he's trying to get into the human world, but he is prevented. It would have been nice to see them all go to the human world and fight Digimon there, like in past seasons. That's always been a highlight. Like it's kind of like a Jurassic Park movie. I don't care what anybody says about the second one. I want to see that T-Rex running through the street. That's just something that you would never see. And so that's why I like when Digimon go to the human world. Now, the leader, Takuya, he does go to the human world. In a weird episode, I keep refusing to watch. Like every time I watch this season, I never watched that episode because it's just a boring episode. Basically, he turns into a weird looking Digimon, go to the human world. It's like people act prejudice towards him, but he gets to see something that's really interesting that's foreshadowing something in later episodes. The theme song is awesome. It has this tribal jungle feel to it. And I just really enjoy it. But I do miss the original theme song. But this is a very nice theme song that really tells like the story. And also I love the way they digivolve. It's very digital, like it's very like mechanical, digital, computerish, animated type stuff. It's really cool, even though they all favor very similar to each other and stuff. The first episode is a bit of a drag because of the simple fact that like you're really not sure what's going on there in the human world. And Takuya and a couple other kids, they get like messages on their cell phones talking about, are you ready to accept your destiny? And he's just like, sure, and just goes there without even thinking twice. And so one of the things that's different about this digital world is that you travel by a trailmon. A trailmon is a train like Digimon, and there are railroads everywhere. So in the human world, they get kind of put in this weird pocket dimension. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. And it's a bunch of kids there. I'm like, whoa, all these kids gonna be Digidestined and everything? But then only a few are selected and they head on the train. And so once they get in the digital world, this is how they travel and everything. And that's kind of neat. That's like very different. And I like that aspect of it. However, the personalities of the Trailmon are very cringe and they are so annoying and everything. And so right before I get into character profiles, the actual characters themselves, like the kids, back to their personalities, it's kind of weird. Like, say Takuya, like he's really cool and everything, but then all of a sudden, this one episode, they're all like, "Oh, you're so arrogant and you always rush into stuff like that." I'm all like, "No, he doesn't." And so where did this come from? And so he had to learn a life lesson. Then all their personality kind of shift a little bit to the point where they become irrelevant. So let's get into all these characters and stuff. I'm probably gonna butcher some of their Digital Evolution names, but hey, that's the name of the game when you watch Digimon. Before I get into character profiles, I just now thought about an episode that's very unique. There's a wacky racist type episode. If you're as old as me, then you will remember Wacky Racist from back in the day. It was like a cartoon series. Other cartoons I tried to pay homage to it. Basically, in this episode, you have the Trailmon, and there's like a huge race that's supposed to go on. Anjumon with the purple stripe, he is the one who monitors and is the host and everything. So all the Digidestined, they each take a different Trailmon, along with these pair of Digimon that looks like Garurumon, but in a purple color, and some other Digimon. And they just race. And of course, the evil Digimon, who's Garurumon, tries to sabotage all the others and stuff. And it's insane. It's like a really hilarious, interesting type episode. It's pointless because it's a filler episode, but it pays homage to that classic cartoon series. Oh, one more thing I want to point out. All the kids in this season, except for JP and technically Koichi and everything, they all wear hats or some type of hair garment and everything, which is like a nice little thing that they have, a little kind of like a recurring gag type thing with all the Digidestined. Technically, Koichi did have a hat, but he lost it and everything. And so that's kind of interesting that everybody has headwear and everything. So let's get into these character profiles, starting with the leader. Takiro, he is our goggle-headed leader and everything. He wears the colors of orange, and whenever he digivolve, he has a yellow-orange coloration to him, but his digivice is that of red for some bizarre reason. And he possesses the power of fire. When he digivolves, he's, I think, a Gulamon, I think. And so after that, when he goes beast, all his digivolutions of that of a Greymon evolution and stuff. And so he is very nice, very calm-headed and everything. He's not like a brute. He's not stubborn, and thank God he is not Davis. And so he's a really cool leader who always tries to see the bright side of everything, and he always tries to help people out. And he starts off, being bored and getting that text and, talking about destiny and everything, being impulsive and going to the train station. And so there he befriends, Tommy. He thinks of him as a little brother. He has his own little brother and he gets along with him very well. For some bizarre reason, they try to say he's hot-headed and stubborn, and impulsive, but he's really not. And he is the only one who goes back to the human world, but he goes back as a Digimon to learn a life lesson and to calm his behind down, which is weird because he's not impulsive and stuff. But when he returns back, he learns to think with his head instead of rushing into stuff, which I never see him rush into stuff, except for the pilot when, when he rushes into going to the digital world and stuff. And so he's one of the coolest leaders out there. And, he carries the tradition of the goggles and everything, except for that one dude in Data Squad. And so I think I said his first name right. I'm not really sure. I forgot. But his antagonist is Koichi and everything. No, Koji. So it's kind of like a Matt Tai situation, but you never see those two go to physical blows except for that of the movie. They mostly have a verbal discussion because he cannot stand Koji and Koji cannot stand being around anybody and stuff. And so this dude is literally the most powerful out of all the Digimon and stuff, and he has the biggest digital evolutions and stuff because he's able to do unity evolution and along with Koji and stuff like that. And so yeah, he's just your traditional leader and everything. And I do appreciate them going back to the orange color, with the whole tie stuff. Koji is a very much the lone wolf type person. He is a very solitary type person. He lives at home with his dad and his stepmom, and he can't stand his stepmom because it's not his real mom. He hasn't seen his real mom in forever. He doesn't even know she's existing and everything. And so when he comes to the digital world, he thinks he's like the man. Like he thinks he's the best at everything and it's his destiny to like save everything. And he doesn't want to work with the other kids. Even once in a while, he'll either save their life or they'll save his. And so it's once they save his life, his behind starts to calm down a little bit and joins the group. It takes him a good while to want to join the group. And even when he does join the group, he's still very much a butt head. And so his primary color is blue. But it is cool to see him calm down and be like a team sport. And he gets along with them very well once he starts to calm his behind down. His Digivice is blue. He wears the color blue. And he digivolves into Lobomon, who has a bunch of like lightsaber type weapons and stuff. When he hits beast mode, he is, the variants of like the what is it, Garurumon and stuff. And his digivolutions are always pretty cool and everything. And so he's the wolf type, Digimon and everything. And he has the power of light. And what's really interesting is that halfway through, he finds out a really cool revelation. He has a twin brother he never knew about. And his twin brother, Karichi, is in the digital world, but in a very special way. This causes him to be even more of a team player because now he has somebody who's literally like his better half. Zoe is the only girl of the group, and she's actually my favorite. I love her personality. I love her clothes and everything. And I love how independent and strong-minded she is. She is the type of person, she used to live in, I think, Italy and stuff. And so because of that, she speaks Italian every once in a while. And she has an upbeat personality, but she will defend herself verbally and stuff and will not take no crap. She also hates peeping Toms. Like, when her and JP had to climb up, I think like a ladder or something, she wanted him to go first because if she went first, he would have looked up her skirt and she did not want him to do that. Then when she was changing into her bikini, she thought somebody was spying on her, but it was what were them things called? I forget what their names were. They were like these type of Digimon. They were trying to get the Digivices and stuff. And so she wears, I can't say the name of the type of hat because it starts with a P, end with a Y, but it's one of those feminist type hats that came out a couple of years ago. But what's interesting is she actually wore that hat way before the hats were even created in real life. And this came out many, many, many decades ago and stuff. Now, my only problem with her, also when she digivolves, she turns to Kazamon. Her coloration is like a light, purple color. What is that? Velvet or something like that? Or lavender. Lavender, that's what it is. And so my only problems with her is that she is the weakest out of the rest of the Digidestin and stuff. She's only destroyed one Digimon, and that one Digimon happens to be a female Digimon. Other than that, she will kick some butt, but she's never able to stop the bad guys and stuff. Her attacks are very weak. Another problem I have with her is that when she does Digivolve, no matter what version it is, they really exploit her sexuality. Like they really have her dress all half naked and stuff, and it's very disturbing because she is nothing more but a teenage girl. And it's to the point where they had to censor her a lot in the American version because they just went just all weird in the Japanese version, exploiting her sexuality and stuff. She's also voiced in real life by the woman who does the voice of Luna in Sailor Moon Crystal. Oh, also, the person who voices Koji was originally the actor who voices Matt. But halfway through, the dude who voices Henry had to take over because of schedule conflicts. JP is the oldest, and he's the most, arrogant and stuff. He thinks because he's the oldest, oh, he has to like do everything. That's his responsibility. Only to see him get outmatched by everybody else and for him to get his detector last. Or I think his animal spirit last. And one odd thing about him is that he has an endless supply of chocolate in his pockets. And he's always trying to bribe people with chocolate. Where is this endless supply coming from? Heck if I know, but he has it. He also does magic tricks because he thinks that's going to get people to like him. Turns out, back in the real world, that, like, he doesn't have many friends. So he tries to wow them with magic tricks only for them to still not be interested. And it causes him to be sad because he has no friends. He crushes very big time on Zoe to the point where it becomes very creepy and cringy at times. When he digivolves, he turns into Beetlemon. Now, when he digivolves, he's more of a like a purplish color, but I think his Digivice is the same color as his clothes, like a blue and gold kind of color. And so after that, he turns into an Ikakumon. No, not Ikakumon. Gabu Terriermon, like variant and stuff. Halfway through the season, they change him up to where he becomes like the wise person and stuff. And he's kind of like the third leader of like the group when Koji and Takiro is like, gone and stuff. So it's weird seeing him being like the wise person and somewhat of like a leader, but they needed him to do something else because once everybody goes beast, once the other two go beast and the other ones don't, they needed like filler episodes to like give them something to do, which the filler episodes are really just that, filler and stuff. Tommy is the youngest and he wears a giant like Jamaican hat for some bizarre reason. And so like at first I could not stand Tommy because he was the crybaby of the group. And then I'm just kind of like, oh, nah, man, don't make another TK from season one. But quickly after the first episode, he mans up and becomes a much cooler person. I am so thankful for that because I did not want another TK situation. And so it turns out he gets bullied a lot, which causes him to cry. And in fact, he didn't even want to go to the digital world. These bullies pushed him on like the train and everything. He just wants to go home. And so, but once he in the digital world, he realizes once he digivolves and everything, he has a more important type role. And so like he learns to be brave after that. And it's really cool to see his evolution from being a crybaby to just a straight up hero. Halfway through towards the end, he meets those same bullies and everything that bullied him and stuff. And they're right back at it again until he has to save their life. And then they learn to respect him. And the other group of kids that bullied him, see, they didn't want to go back home when, like, all the other kids had to go. So Afanimon sent Anjumon to, like, protect them and everything. And so when he digivolves, he's Gobamon, I think, his name. And he's like a little snow bear type thing with ice powers. Then he turns, I think, into more of an Ikakumon looking thing when he goes beast. But it's kind of like around that line, more of a like, a giant Yeti looking thing. And his beast mode is cool, especially with his weapons and stuff. Tommy also has an older brother at home, and his brother is so mean to him. But supposedly they try to do the whole "I'm only mean to you 'cause I'm trying to get you to man up" type thing. I hate that lesson. Koichi is the twin brother of that of Koji. And so when I think it was his mom or grandma was on like, sick and on a deathbed or whatever, they told him, you have a twin brother. So he goes out looking for him. And then that's when the whole train station thing happened. He slips and he falls on the steps and he falls all the way down the stairs to the point where he is literally unconscious and in a coma. And somehow that jump, it bounced him into the digital world, but his body is not there, only his spirit. How exactly that happened, heck if I know. But when he enters the digital world, he's really angry for like not knowing he had like a twin brother and stuff. He used to wear a hat, but then lost it. And so Chubimon turned him evil and turned him into like a dark like type Digimon and part of like his crew. So when everybody gets their beast and everything and they start to fight the other legendary warriors and stuff, this is when he shows up. And once he realizes he has a weird connection with Koji and doesn't understand why, it is later revealed he's having some flashbacks of his memory. Then it's revealed that they are twins and he wants nothing to do with him, which causes Koji to like chase after him. Eventually, they are able to break the spell because Koji has the power of light and Korichi has the power of darkness. Once then, he's able to digivolve into Dustmon, and he's more of a lion type Digimon. I don't know if this is supposed to be based off of Leomon, because there is a version of Leomon in here, but he's like an evil snow version. And so once then, he becomes part of the group, and he starts to realize something is different with him. Whenever they face the major bad guys, they literally got the fractal code knocked out of them, and except for him. And he realized that everybody else keeps passing out but him. So something is odd with him, but he doesn't know why until it's later revealed that he's basically near death and everything. And so only his spirit came to the digital world, but not his body. You have Pokemon, which is kind of like, I don't know what he's supposed to be. I don't know if he's like a seal or a bear or whatever he is, but like he's like this tiny Digimon with this kind of like band around his waist. And he has a book about the digital world and all this knowledge. So he is like their guide. And he finds them, I think, after like the first episode, and him and his friend help the Digidestin and stuff. He has a British accent and he's a little snarky and he's always mean to his companion, always snapping his pants waist. Which brings us to Neilmon. And Neilmon is basically the dim-witted comic relief. He looks kind of like a kangaroo and he only wears pants and he's just a complete idiot and everything. Now, when Serafimon turned back into a digital egg, Pokemon took care of him and everything until he hatched. And when he hatched, he could literally feel like the pains in like his stomach and stuff. And so it is the digital egg that helps the to Digidestin to go like fusion and everything. And so once Patamon is like hatches, he has like a waistband around his waist similar to that of Pokemon. And I was so happy to have Patamon back. He was always my favorite and stuff. Now the three celestial Digimon is Chubimon, Ophanimon, and Serafimon. Ophanimon is the one who brought all the kids to the digital world to try to defeat the evil and everything. Her and Serafimon, well, she was held captive, and Serafimon, I think, was held captive too, in their own respected like temples and stuff. And so, she tries her best, but then she ends up getting defeated and reborn into a digital egg. And then Serafimon ends up getting defeated and turned into a digital egg as well. It turns out that Cherubimon was the one corrupted by Luciomon, and he corrupted that of like Koichi and stuff. And so we think he's the main bad guy, but he's really not. He's more like a stooge and everything. But it's extremely difficult to take him down because he is so much more powerful and stuff. And then once he is defeated, he's reborn again back into his younger form. But he has minions. They're remaining warriors and stuff, ancient warriors. These people are extremely tough to defeat. It's Randomon, it's Mercurymon, Grumblemon, and then Armamon or something like that. And basically they remind me of the Dark Masters and stuff. Grumblemon is like one of the toughest to take down, and he shows up first. And he shows up very early in the season, about like the 10th episode or so. And like, but once he's defeated and everything, then Armamon is defeated, and then Ranamon is defeated after that. Armamon is more like a dim-witted, like brute and everything, whereas Ranamon is more of like thinks about her looks and everything like that. When she goes beast mode, she's really hideous and everything, and she hates that. And so only Zoe is able to defeat her. Now, Mercurymon is like one of the most evilest and stuff. He's conniving and he wants to betray like others. And he's very, very, very powerful and stuff. And so, like, he is the one who creates this contraption. I think it's his digital evolution, where he has all the kids trapped in there. And that's when they have to learn their self-discovery. Because, you know, every Digimon season, the kids have to learn, like, a lesson, what makes them them, and what they're hiding from and stuff. And so, towards the end, when they're all defeated and reborn, the other Digidestins, you know, they help them out and everything with their spirit ghostly form. And so the season should have ended right then and there once all the ancient warriors were like defeated and everything, and I would have been totally satisfied with them defeating, like, you know, those remaining warriors and then Chubimon and everything. But then they wanted to add in more villains, and the season kept going, and it felt a little out of place after that. After that, there are these two knights. It's Crusadermon and it is Dysonmon or something like that. And basically they're just really, really, really tough to defeat. They're kicking the Digidestin's butt, and they're destroying the digital world to take out the fractal code data and give it to Lucimon and everything. And it's to the point where all the Digimon literally have to go to like one of the three moons because there's no more digital world left. And, you know, even like the babies from, like, you know, the village of beginning, which is kind of like what was that place called where Digimon are reborn in season 1? Oh, I forgot the name of it just that fast. But basically it's where all the babies are at, and like what is it, Swanmon, I think it is. Oh no, what's that, the stork or whatever, Mon, you know, has to like take care of them and stuff. Primary village, that's it, from season 1. And so here, you know, it's called the Village of Beginnings. And so the entire digital world is literally fragmented and stuff. And so their big thing is that they're working for Luciamon because they want to go to the human world and take it over and stuff. A dumb, really, really, really dumb plot, if you ask me. That's their only motivation and stuff. And so, you know, like eventually they are defeated and everything, but it's too late because Luciamon has so much data in him now, he's able to resurrect himself. And of course, he's based off the devil, and he's extremely tough. Too tough for the Digidestin. And he digivolves, but when he digivolves, he still has the same voice. He sounds like Izzy. So basically, he's able to open like a portal, and he's able to travel to that digital world, which calls our Digidestins to unify and chase after him. And so after that, before he can even reach the human world, the rest of the warriors come out. All of them come out. All the 10 warriors, even the ones that's in the Digidestin, and they help to, like, you know, their spirits help to like defeat him and everything. After that, they said that literally the humans must now race back home and leave the digital world, which gives them no time to really say goodbye to that of Neomon and Bokumon. Like, it's really a fast goodbye. It's not as touching and heartwarming as season 1, which is very disappointing because I tell you this right now, man. Every time I see that, I tear up. I tear up in the finale of season 1 when Palamon, I think it is chasing after like the train, and Mimi's on there and she's upset, and then the hat flies off, and then, you know, it plays the music. That always gets me like teary-eyed, man. It chokes me up because that's such a heartbreaking, sad moment. And it was nothing like this here because they had to say goodbye really fast. But they had to hurry up and get to the hospital because Koichi is literally dying. And so he is saved. I believe he might have been, I don't know if he's saved by his animal spirit or what, but anyway, he's alive. And so after that, it just literally ends. And so you assume that because these kids never knew each other, but of course they're gonna try to stay in contact with each other after this like adventure and everything. And so it basically just ends like that. And it's kind of like a very dry ending that should have been a whole lot more touching and heartwarming and stuff. It was, like, you can tell they rushed the ending big time because they realized, you know what, we're kind of just dragging our feet, so let's just hurry up and end this. But like I said before, this is not a terrible season. It's a really enjoyable, fun season to watch. It's very different and stuff. But I do love how it goes back to basics of a group of kids in the digital world, and they have to navigate, instead of having like, older Digidestin to help them out and stuff. And the whole like, human and beast digivolution type thing is really neat. However, it's a concept that's never been repeated because, I guess fans really didn't dig that at all. Happy Asian and Pacific Islander month, everybody. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.